Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Tom Spark and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be rechecking out ProtonVPN for 2021, doing an updated review since it's been a bit of time, and I'm going to see if there has any updates or if you should use it now in 2021. Here on the channel, I've reviewed over 60 plus VPNs and put them all on the tier list at vpntierlist.com. Here in the channel, we don't take any sponsorships and we rate the VPNs objectively out of 6 different categories and criteria. So guys, stick around for this objective, unbiased review of ProtonVPN to decide if you should use it or not. As always, if you want to help support the channel, check out some of the links and coupons down in the description down below, and let's get into the review. Now, if you guys want to get your privacy to a bare minimum online, you should at least be using 4 products that I recommend here on the channel that I really like. You're going to need a good VPN, and you can find my recommended VPNs on vpntierlist.com. Tier 1 options are the best. Use code TOMSPARK for all those ones, and it should get you some discount. Number 2 is you're going to need an anti-doxing tool that deletes your real-life information online from data brokers, so if someone does manage to find your real-life name online, they can't look up your address, your phone number, or any of your family members to harass or even swat you. That's essential. I would recommend a service called Join Delete Me, and if you use code TOMSPARK, you can get 10% off that. Thirdly, I would recommend a private encrypted email provider instead of using Google that pretty much just logs all your data and sells it off to advertisers. Instead, use a private encrypted email like Private Mail. With code TOMSPARK, you can get 50% off that. Super solid service, actually made by the same people who made Torguard VPN, so you know you can trust it. Also guys, if you're looking for a more private and anonymous way of calling people, texting, signing up for accounts, or anything like that where you don't want to put your real number, I would recommend a service called hush.com, which has a phone app that you can use to have your own private phone number. And if you use the link down in the description down below, you could get an unlimited account, pretty much lifetime, for around 25 bucks with 6,000 text messages or around 1,000 call minutes per year, which is a really good deal. Anyways guys, if you want to help support the channel, check out any of those products and use my discount codes. I'll put the links and discount codes down in the description down below. And back to the video right now. So guys, here's ProtonVPN's pricing plans. And we have monthly and yearly plans as an available option, and 2 years as well. So the yearly plan is going to be around $100 a year for the Plus plan, which is like their main plan that includes everything you would need. And then you also have the 2-year plan at around $160 for 2 years, which is extremely pricey. Some of the most pricey plans that I've ever seen, right up there alongside something like ExpressVPN. Now, regular monthly plan is around $10 a month, which isn't bad, but still more expensive than some other competitors out there, like Torguard, WeVPN, Private VPN, and Cactus VPN. So there definitely are cheaper VPNs out there than this offering here, but there are a little bit more expensive VPNs for the monthly plan. But all said and told, it is a more expensive VPN provider compared to some other options out there. Like I said, you have different plans available here. You have the free, basic, and plus plan, as well as visionary, which includes access to Proton Mail. But seeing that it's $30 a month, I would not even consider that one at all. Not only that, but the basic plan doesn't include some fundamental things like access unblocking geo restrictions, which I think is an essential thing to include. And we also have the free plan, but it's just so limited that you shouldn't consider it anything more than a more advertiser-friendly trial system. So yeah. Another thing that really pisses me off about ProtonVPN's pricing and just the way the checkout works is that if you have a card that is declining the transactions and you don't want to pay for it anymore, the service will keep trying to charge you in perpetuity pretty much. Not sure if this is a bug or what's going on, but we used ProtonVPN last year in some kind of test, I think, for the global speed test of 2020. And as you could see here, even though I don't want to pay for it and I close my card, it's still trying to charge me month after month after month after month after month after month. That's ridiculous. I don't know why it's still trying to charge me. The card is gone and I'm not paying for that service anymore on that account. And the service should not try to auto bill you every single time after, a failed transaction. I don't think I've ever encountered any other VPN that does this, and it's very annoying. Just to make sure, I went ahead and asked the CEO of WeVPN, Zero, you could talk to on their server if you could see him around too. He actually said that this is not a regular occurrence. They use Stripe for their credit card processing, and he says that they only try to retry billing twice. So ProtonVPN, what the hell is going on here? I have no idea. Additionally, another thing to look at is the simultaneous connections. ProtonVPN only offers 5 simultaneous connections with this core expensive plan here, which is a bit of a letdown since other VPN providers nowadays seemingly offer more around 8 to 10 simultaneous connections, so that's also a little bit disappointing. Overall, the pricing is just not that good in my opinion. We have high prices, limited features, and limited simultaneous connections, and overall the pricing kind of page itself is kind of confusing how you have to toggle it here and stuff like that. Not a huge fan of it, so let's go ahead and move into the next category. The next category is going to be application, and ProtonVPN has a well-designed application. It certainly looks and feels very modern, and the team has done a good job on the graphical user interface, and it's quite pleasant to use with different little toggleable switches here, which are really nice, as well as some profile management and good information about server load and stuff like that. If you go up here, you could go into the settings and configure some things here. Admittedly, ProtonVPN is a little bit lacking when it comes to the settings, and let's go ahead and see why. If we take a look at the application analysis, doing a feature by feature breakdown of what ProtonVPN has and doesn't have to offer, when comparing it to some other options, you can see what it's lacking. For example, it doesn't have dedicated IP support, which can be useful for some use cases and users. It doesn't support IKEv2 or even WireGuard in 2021, which is definitely disappointing. Almost every VPN we reviewed this year has managed to implement WireGuard, except some of the smaller VPN providers that are still working on it but do have beta options available. But ProtonVPN has no WireGuard in sight yet, which is actually kind of surprising and disappointing, considering WireGuard gives huge boost to speed, and overall it's just the best new protocol to take advantage of, so that's definitely a disappointment. However, it does have some cool new features like ad blocking and split tunneling, as well as some obfuscation and security things like that, which can come in use for people that are super paranoid or in specific jurisdictions that they need to unblock restrictions and stuff like that. It also has DNS customization, but again is lacking in some things like port customization. It also doesn't have server favoriting, which is a little bit weird. I couldn't figure any way to favorite servers. Not a big deal, but still something to note. No script support for advanced power users. It also doesn't include a SOCKS 5 proxy, which is very disappointing and something you thought would be included for the price that it is. It also doesn't have a Linux GUI support. It does have a CLI experience, but again, there are some VPNs out there, namely TorGuard and Private Internet Access, that do have GUIs, which are just much more user-friendly. It also doesn't have extension support, which is really odd considering it's been around for quite some time. The annoying thing is that if you look up ProtonVPN, there's this application here masquerading itself as ProtonVPN. So I actually did kind of look into this and look at the reviews and say it doesn't have good reviews, and then if you look at the offering, it does seem to be fake, and a good amount of people seem to be falling for it all the time. So I'm not really sure why Proton hasn't taken action against this to take this down, since it obviously seems to be fake. Updated pretty recently, however. ProtonVPN, if you see this review, can you confirm down below if this is fake or not? If this is going against the Chrome store, or if it's some kind of thing. I did report it because it does seem to be malevolent. Since I couldn't find any information from ProtonVPN on their website about extensions, but this is a concerning thing to find. But it's also concerning to see that they don't have native extension support from what I could find either. They also don't have native Fire Stick support, so for you people looking to easily install it just by searching for it on your Fire Stick support, you can't install it there. Of course, some of these other options allow you to do weird third-party ways to install APKs that you could do get around with, but other VPNs do it better by just allowing you to natively install it on the store. The good news is it doesn't have any Android trackers or website trackers, and it does have a relatively low permission count on Android, which is nice to see. Overall, it's not the worst performing application here. I mean, you could obviously see something like Namecheap or Bitdefender and even TunnelBear doing considerably worse. However, it is missing some things that I believe are fundamental nowadays, especially stuff like WireGuard, SOCKS 5 proxy, Yeah, those are probably the biggest things, and definitely disappointing not to see them here. So overall, a really good GUI experience on Windows at least, but definitely lacking some features that you would expect. Also, the extension thing too. All right, guys, we're going to be doing a speed test of a Ubuntu download with ProtonVPN. Now, with some of the WireGuard supporting VPNs, I could get up to 70 megabytes a second download. So as we can see here, we're getting around 35, which is okay, but definitely not great compared to some of those VPNs out there that support WireGuard. Roughly, this is around half the speeds you can expect with some of the fastest performing VPNs that do support WireGuard nowadays. So this is exactly kind of what I did expect from an OpenVPN VPN in 2021 with my roughly gig internet connection. It's fine, just definitely not going to impress me compared to other options out there that get much faster speeds now with WireGuard. Now, ProtonVPN does have a pretty decent no logs VPN service, as well as a pretty transparent company in terms of audits and things like that. They also have an about page, but there's not too much information about the employees. It is known who the CEO is because he's kind of outspoken. Now let's go ahead and test and see if it works with streaming services. And I did the Netflix test here to see if it works with the USA version of Netflix. I can see the Twilight Zone, so it does mean it's unblocking geo restrictions for Netflix, which is really nice. So let's go ahead and move into the other categories and test it out there too. It does seem to be working with Hulu as well, which is really nice. And it does seem to be working with Prime Video too. Very nice. Unfortunately, for some reason, ProtonVPN doesn't seem to be working with unblocking BBC iPlayer on the UK side. So that's definitely disappointing. It's not going to get full points for streaming compatibility. Another category we can take a look at is support, and it doesn't seem to have live chat, which is definitely a bummer and something I'm looking for now all the time, since kind of the pandemic has kind of slowed down, and these companies should be able to support some of that stuff. And some of my top rated VPNs, in fact, most of them do support live chat now. So yeah, it's disappointing not to see that here. Probably get like a response once a day or something like that. And I don't really see any forum communities here, which is disappointing since I do like more native in-house forum communities instead of having to use something like Reddit, which isn't very privacy friendly. So guys, in conclusion, at the end of this ProtonVPN review, have we decided it's worth using or you should get it? Unfortunately, not. It's around a tier 3 VPN option with serious downsides in most of the categories. For pricing, we found it was simply too expensive with too many limited simultaneous connections and annoying upsells. Being around $10 a month or $100 a year or $160 for 2 years is wildly expensive in my opinion. There are much cheaper VPNs out there, especially long-term and month-to-month. The application was missing some really fundamental stuff I'd like to see nowadays. Stuff even like IKV2, WireGuard, some basic extension support, as well as SOCKS5 proxy missing is very disappointing in 2021. The speeds also were impacted by not supporting WireGuard, which is disappointing since most of the VPNs nowadays I've reviewed, in fact in 2021, all have supported WireGuard mostly so far. And those that did actually perform a little bit faster than the speeds we got here. ProtonVPN, it's never been that fast a VPN for me, and it doesn't look like that has changed so much so far. Reputation is fine. It's kind of a mixed bag here. They don't have any logs or anything like that, and then some audits and stuff like that. But this one, you could kind of vary depending on your interactions with the company itself. Support is also kind of a mixed bag. There's not any in-house forum community or a sense of community on the website, and there's no live chat options either, which is definitely a letdown. And lastly, streaming did pretty good actually, but there's no BBC iPlayer support, which is also disappointing, so it can't get full points there. Overall, it gets a 2.79, a slight nerf from last time, still tier 3, around the same area, just a little bit nerfed, because it's kind of more or less the same product I reviewed last time, just it's not comparing as well to other options out there, since other options out there are getting better and better, and even more VPNs are entering the game now. Anyways guys, I hope you enjoyed that unbiased, objective ProtonVPN review, and I'll see you again in the next video very soon.